Hi there. I'm honored and delighted to have the opportunity to speak with you about something very close to my heart. As you've heard, I have performed with ITC for over 5 years now, and I also published The Little Butterfly Girl after graduating from the Walter Cronkite School of Journalism and Mass Communication at ASU. You can read the short version of my story in the back of your folders later, but what I really want to do right now is talk to you about the importance of storytelling, especially when it comes to being a productive member of your community. Aside from the love and grace of God in heaven, there is nothing in the world more boundless than captivating stories. We all know the power of fantasy and fiction. Our favorite books, movies, TV shows, plays, and even role-playing video games can let us escape, encourage us, and relate to our troubles when it seems like no one else does. But sometimes it's easy to forget that everyone, from any walk of life, carries their own stories with them at all times. Think about the last conversation you had. My guess is many of you were telling a story. We all do it, every day, several times a day. Everyone at any age, in any condition or circumstance, can appreciate a good story. Whether it's when we snag a few minutes with a friend to relay how the tiniest action altered our entire day, or explaining how one's past experiences makes them the best candidate for the job to a potential employer, we all want what we share to be compelling enough to make connections and reveal our most accurate portrait. It is the building of relationships through the exchange of our personal stories that allows us to achieve mutual understanding on such a deeper level that we gain the ability to end the perpetuation of unwarranted assumptions and instead initiate truly positive change in the society surrounding us. In this technology-driven age, we are constantly inundated with conflicting messages. On one hand, we are encouraged to capitalize on our own uniqueness. Speak out. Break the mold. And on the other hand, we're told we should conform, just do our jobs. Well, as you can see, both things are a bit tricky for me. Being born with moderately severe cerebral palsy has made the majority of my muscles, including the ones used for speaking clearly, extremely obstinate. My limbs are largely unwilling to do what I ask, no matter how much I coax and plead. This obviously limits my mobility and, in turn, my capability to do just any old job I can find. Therein lies the reason creativity is essential to my survival. But, there again, that means I have to get people to stick around long enough after they hear my restricted voice to realize that, oh yeah, she is actually home with all the lights on. Even if they can read a description of my background, skill level, and achievement, they often need to be given something more emotionally tangible in order to bridge the gap in understanding. This is where the blessing and power of storytelling comes in handy. I share my own stories in many various forms, each one as intensely personal as the next. It isn't always easy, being brave enough to open the Pandora box that is my life, covered in all the messy labels of disability in front of strangers. However, some good never fails to find its way out of every story I willingly pull from beneath the lid. With one, I may find a new remedy for a tender wound still lingering from my days of school-girl torment. With another might come a way for me to gently encourage someone to let go of their misguided ideas about people with disabilities. And still others could reveal solutions for removing the daily barriers that still block my path to total self-sufficiency. A few of them are things like these digital stories in a scene from a play I performed in.
There you go, Brooke on YouTube, Brooke's Butterfly Couch. There we go.
Heck yeah.
Right.
Okay, so the one she... Oops, I'm so sorry. Mind Your Tongue and the Everyday Hero.
Got it.
Dude, did you hear that? What? Is she drunk?
Drunk gibberish, huh? That's new. Clever. But really? If I was drunk, I don't think I'd be enjoying my buzz at school.
I doubt it. I mean, look, she's in a wheelchair, man. It's probably a mental issue that comes with the disease.
No. Actually, it's just a muscular issue. But thanks for playing.
Yeah, I guess. I'm just glad I don't have to deal with all that. I mean, look at her on the other end. I don't think I have the patience to handle her.
Nice attitude, buddy. You might actually catch on if you gave it a shot, but no worries. I'm rapidly losing my patience for you, too.
I agree. It would be hard. But come on, man. Keep it down. There you
Yes, I can hear you. In fact, my hearing is excellent, thank you. Perhaps one of you has a brain after all.
Okay, maybe, but how much can a handicapped person really comprehend? Look, she's reading a kid's fairy tale. How could she even be taking classes?
Whoa. Bite your tongue, Buster. First, I am a person with a disability. Second, the Grimm fairy tales are some of the most famous stories in history. Pretty good resource for another writer taking a creative writing course, don't you think? And I understand you perfectly, but I'm wondering how the heck you made it to college.
Given the senior information, we'll probably never know. I'm too embarrassed to go find out, so you please just shut up.
Alright. Jeez, I'm just saying.
I'd take your friend's advice there, bud. You know how people always say, don't judge a book by its cover? Well, here's another one, never judge a mind by its body. Just saying.
Good.
Good stuff. Good try.
Next one is the bricks I carry. With the bear, that, yeah.
I am a lover of the Lord, of people and of words who writes, creates, dances and always dreams. Whenever I'm feeling lost and discouraged, I need to remind myself I'm rolling on a path of grace designed just for me. The Lord has gone before me to ensure that I can navigate over the uneven bricks. Each one is always set at an appointed time, with a specific purpose. The Bible I received with my high school diploma was laid first and recalls my still firm foundation and the people who helped rebuild me after a destructive junior high experience. Kashmir the bear then came to stay and go with me to the hospital when I had my baclofen pump installed to calm my spastic muscles. I was a mature college student, knew the Lord would protect me, but still needed someone to hug in the dark moments. My recovery was hard-won, but I returned to my studies on schedule. College itself had its own struggles, but I persevered and received the Walter Cronkite School's highest honor. My book and senior project was published and set in place a year later. The pen fits next as a token of my mother's support and pride for my first book signing. My iPhone and its augmentative communication app is the blessed brick that has filled some of the widest gaps yet, allowing me to share my thoughts with a much broader world. However, I'd never move forward without love and encouragement, especially not on stage. My dearest friend meant the angel to point to the light in me and the twilight crest to conjure many fond memories. His faith in me is often the brick to provide the last bit of oomph I need to keep walking and rolling into the spotlight.
I'm also able to connect with those that watch me dance or do Pilates by explaining that while I have to rely on my power chair for my general mobility, I still enjoy being physically active and pushing the limits of my body. Not to mention that when you have cerebral palsy, regular exercise is your best shot at getting your muscles to cooperate on a daily basis. Similarly, anyone who reads my written work will quickly realize I have many of the same thought processes, emotions, desires and goals as any other 30-something typically abled woman, even though my speech may be difficult to understand. Taking advantage of situations like these have often led me to other rewarding opportunities as well. For example, I landed a paid freelance writing assignment at Scottsdale Community College because I started corresponding with a lovely lady who wrote an article about the uniquely abled dance class I was taking at the time. Furthermore, I've utilized my life stories as anecdotes for inspiration and motivational speeches, and as supporting evidence for policy change at advocacy events. Performing with and writing true-to-life scenes with Improbable Theater Company also allows me to further illuminate my personality and experiences beyond my disability by expanding my artistic range and continuing to build my self-confidence when in the presence of others. Truthfully, I'd be happy staying in the audience, just watching the cast act out my scripts. But if I did that, I wouldn't be as independent as I am. The first monologue I ever recited on stage was all about the emotional turmoil I felt while giving my first public speech, the student address at my college graduation. That's what started me on the path here today. I'm also able to connect with those that watch me dance or do Pilates by explaining that while I have to rely on my power chair for my general mobility, I still enjoy being physically active and pushing the limits of my body. Not to mention that when you have cerebral palsy, regular exercise is your best shot at getting your muscles to cooperate on a daily basis. Similarly, anyone who reads my written work will quickly realize I have many of the same thought processes, emotions, desires and goals as any other 30-something typically abled woman, even though my speech may be difficult to understand. Taking advantage of situations like these have often led me to other rewarding opportunities as well. For example, I landed a paid freelance writing assignment at Scottsdale Community College because I started corresponding with a lovely lady who wrote an article about the uniquely abled dance class I was taking at the time. Furthermore, I've utilized my life stories as anecdotes for inspiration and motivational speeches, and as supporting evidence for policy change at advocacy events. Performing with and writing true-to-life scenes with Improbable Theater Company also allows me to further illuminate my personality and experiences beyond my disability by expanding my artistic range and continuing to build my self-confidence when in the presence of others. Truthfully, I'd be happy staying in the audience, just watching the cast act out my scripts. But if I did that, I wouldn't be as independent as I am. The first monologue I ever recited on stage was all about the emotional turmoil I felt while giving my first public speech, the student address at my college graduation. That's what started me on the path here today, realizing my life's purpose is bigger than just encouraging people on paper or screen. Our personal stories, however they come, are our most powerful tools. They will take us farther than any combination of facts and figures. That's why I feel the Lord has given me this intense desire to assist others in harnessing the strengths of theirs. So, along with continuing my own writings and other projects, I've also founded a creative storytelling services business called Brooks Butterfly Touch, wherein I will help people share their personal stories and or experiences in whatever form they find most effective, such as PowerPoint slides, video or pictures with music, a script to be performed, or traditional written narrative. The possible formats for a story are really endless, and I will walk them through as many as it takes to find the best one for what they are giving of themselves. The most important element in any story with the power to effect change is the voice behind it. That's the thing about our favorite stories. It's not the plots that we remember forever. It's the dynamic characters that touch souls and make permanent impressions in the mind. Could we work together to discover the power in your story? Thank you. The front pockets of your folders have an information sheet about creating a story with Brooks Butterfly Touch, along with a worksheet to help get your ideas flowing. I'm also happy to answer any questions you have at the moment. Please don't be shy. I've heard some pretty weird ones in the past.